Wamsi, let me start with you. Why is the stock down this morning?
Hey, David, if we rewind back to 90 days ago, the September quarter upside was really something that was deferred to the December quarter. And now as we got results of the September quarter, it appears that the December quarter upside is going to get deferred to the March quarter. So we have a moving target that's not giving much clarity in terms of what the iPhone cycle is really going to do, what it's going to look like, what the profitability metrics look like. And meanwhile, the stock has been up 100% over the past year and 200% since the beginning of 2019. So you really have very high expectations baked into the stock, and this is just a reversal of that.
Yeah, Chris, there's going to be a lot of focus on the December quarter shipments in terms of the 5G phone that we've been talking about, waiting for quite some time. Is that going to turn things around, in your opinion, or are we going to sort of be watching kind of dead money here for a stock, by the way, that has a multiple of, 34, 35 times next year's estimated earnings?
That's right, David. I do think that I think iPhone will be a key metric to watch in the December quarter. The supply chain data points do show the numbers are improving. I think to the earlier question also, I think one of the issues of September quarter was not just the iPhone units came in, or the number came in below. The China sales was also pretty low. And if you go back and look at it, Apple's China sales last quarter were like probably the lowest in the last 5 years. A lot of it is iPhone related. So there is some bare concerns that they may be losing share in China. Maybe December quarter can offset that if the iPhone numbers start moving higher.
Hey, Wamsi, I had to go back and look. August 5th, we're concerned about gross margin pressure, volume risk, tough compares, pressure on services. You cut to neutral. The low of that day was 108.90, which is where it is right now. So, I mean, how would you grade, I guess, that cut to neutral? And does the fact that it has gone nowhere in a couple of months make you think maybe you'll be looking at ways in which you might upgrade in the future?
Hey, Carl, thanks for the question. Look, you're absolutely right. When we downgraded the stock back in August, these were some of the concerns that we had. We thought that the cycle upside potential was sort of already within the stock. We thought that there could be, some pressure on gross margins. Now, Apple has done pricing a little bit differently from what we had expected. We had expected pricing to be increased at the high end and maintained at the low end of the spectrum. And they actually did the inverse, where they increased the prices of the 12 versus the 11, like for like by $130. And then they kept the pricing same at the high end. So it's going to depend on the mix of the iPhones, how that gross margin tracks. What we're watching very closely is some of those supply chain data points. Are the bills actually going to get better? How long will that last? How long will carrier incentives last? So there's a lot of unknowns in the cycle. And if you heard last night, the Apple management team basically said all these expectations are under the assumption that COVID doesn't get any worse from October to November and December. And we're clearly seeing a lot of store closures, including Apple's in France and so on. So I think that the risk still remains to the downside from the fundamental viewpoint.
Yeah, Chris, I was going to ask you about the lack of guidance and citing the pandemic, but still with an upbeat tone around obviously 5G and the new upgrade cycle. How do you model the December quarter at this moment?
Sure, Sarah. I think the concerns are valid that Wamsi pointed out in terms of store closures and a little bit of uncertainty heading into the December quarter. But I'd probably say, if you look at the supply chain bills, they are trending upwards, which is a positive for the iPhone 5G cycle. The second thing I'd also say is that, when you looked at the BOM cost analysis, especially with the 5G phone, it's not that crazy in terms of BOM cost increase relative to the prior iPhone 11. And then like I said, this is a seasonally strong period we're heading into. We have been in this kind of like a COVID situation for the last couple of quarters, when we had like store closures, reopenings, part reopenings, but the numbers have held up pretty well. So I would probably not worry too much about store closures impacting the cycle. But if you take a longer view and into next year, I do think that the 5G iPhone numbers will trend higher to probably 200 million units plus for next calendar year.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.